Okay, about a week ago, we put out a tweet asking for your real money dynasty trade so we can go through, we can break them down in a video. I apologize. Yes, I know this was a long time ago. Right now, I'm moving across the country. Okay, so I got to pre-record this video, but let's go through. Let's look at about 10 to 12 real money dynasty fantasy football trades. And yeah, there's nothing to say. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you play dynasty fantasy football, and leave a comment letting me know how stupid I am. You know, I appreciate that. And let's dive right in. This is going to be a 3-team trade. Usually, I hate looking at 3-team trades because what you tend to find is that 2 owners take advantage of one, that somehow, some way, one of the owners that did a 3-team trade just got ripped the hell off. And honestly, I think that maybe that's the case in this deal. Okay, so the first team is going to give up Josh Allen, Davis Mills, in a future 2nd-round pick. They're getting back Jonathan Taylor, 12-team Superflex. Give me Josh Allen over Jonathan Taylor. I don't think that's going to be debatable. But they are also getting Derek Carr. Okay, now I think it's interesting to say, okay, yeah, we probably prefer Jonathan Taylor and Derek Carr over Josh Allen, and a 2023 first and 2nd-round pick. And if we look at Davis Mills, and Davis Mills will play a major role in this trade, I admit, oh my God, outside of Mac Jones, Davis Mills was the best rookie quarterback last season from a real-life NFL standpoint. But does it matter for fantasy football? No, I don't think it does. Because what we have talked about so many times before is if you're a quarterback that doesn't have team investment, look at Matt Corral, look at Desmond Ridder, look at Malik Willis this season. If you are one of those quarterbacks that doesn't have team investment, yeah, maybe you start for a season. Maybe you start for 2 seasons. But what has to happen for you to turn into Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott? What has to happen for you to be able to have that round 3, round 4 NFL draft pick all of a sudden have a 10-year career in the NFL, to have actual job security? That quarterback has to be elite right away. Elite right away. Davis Mills will not be that for the Houston Texans. And on top of it, Davis Mills, you can't start him in fantasy. He has no rushing upside whatsoever. So if he doesn't have job security, if he doesn't have the ability to be started in 2022 based on his lack of rushing production. I mean, if we just go through and pull this up, like I said, I will admit, he was the best rookie quarterback outside of Mac Jones last year. 100%. The best rookie quarterback outside of Mac Jones last year. And the man was the quarterback 29, outscored by Sam Darnold. You're not starting him in fantasy. I think there's a good chance that he gets replaced with CJ Stroud, with Bryce Young in next year's NFL draft. I think it's a good chance he doesn't really have any dynasty value. Easily. Give me the 1st-round pick over Davis Mills. And then the second team went out of their way. They gave up Jonathan Taylor, a future 1st and 2nd for Josh Allen. I'm going to prefer Jonathan Taylor there. And then the last team gave up Derek Carr for Davis Mills and a 2nd-round pick as well. So I think here we are just going to end up taking Derek Carr, someone who was top 5 in the NFL last year in overall passing yards, with no Davante Adams in this offense. So starting off, 3-way deal. I never really see a 3-way deal that I go, okay, this is completely fair. There are going to be some fair trades in this video. I don't think that was one of them. Let's go to our next trade. This team is trading away Dallas Goedert in a future 3rd, and they're getting back Zach Ertz, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and a future 2nd. Now, if we break this down, I think I would prefer Marquez Valdes-Scantling over the 2023 3rd. Now, with Marquez Valdes-Scantling, he's a part of an elite offense, and there's a lot of opportunity available. You have no Tyreek Hill here. Mecole Hardman has never shown to be anything. Travis Kelce is 33 years old, going to be 33 this season. Juju Smith-Schuster is on a 1-year deal, getting paid $2.5 million. Sky Moore, great prospect, but at the end of the day, he's a late 2nd-round pick from a small school. It's not out of the range of outcomes for Marquez Valdes-Scantling to be a top 24 wide receiver in fantasy this season. I think with the contract that he was given by Kansas City, I'm completely fine taking him over that 2023 3rd. And then if we're looking at Zach Ertz in the future 2nd versus Dallas Goedert, I think it's a very fair deal. Now, obviously on Underdog Fantasy, it's a redraft platform. And yes, Zach Ertz will have significantly more value in redraft than he is going to in Dynasty. That should not surprise anybody. But what should surprise you, or at least surprises me, is how early underdog drafters right now are taking Zach Ertz for his expectations this upcoming season. I mean, right now, if we're looking at the ADP for redraft formats between Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert going at pick 96, Zach Ertz going at pick 109. There's like a 1-round gap between these two players. I think you should be able to see some production from Zach Ertz this upcoming year with no DeAndre Hopkins through the first 6 weeks, with Christian Kirk leaving as well. I would love to know your opinion of this trade down there in the comment section. Dallas Goedert was elite with his yards per route run last year. I will say that. But you have A.J. Brown coming over. A.J. Brown's going to take so many targets. Now, our next deal is a trade. Says, made this on the clock. I got the Cooper Kupp side. Team is a contender. It's an 8-team half PPR start, 2 quarterback, 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, and 3 flex spots. So if we break this down, if this was just a regular 12-team league, maybe it would be a fair deal for the 102. But that 2023 first-round pick in an 8-team league, we know it's a guaranteed top 8 pick. Let's go through some rookies in next year's class. You have Bijan Robinson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jahmyr Gibbs, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young. That's 5 of the 8 picks. That's over a 50% chance that you are going to get that ass. And on top of it, Cooper Kupp over DK Metcalf for a contending team. Hell yes. Great deal here. Let's go over to our next trade. This next one is a no-brainer as well. You're trading away Justin Jefferson and getting back Darnell Mooney, a 2023 first, a 2024 first, and I hate to say it, but a 2025 first. And from a principal standpoint, if you can ever trade a wide receiver in Dynasty and pick up a serviceable top 24 option, which is what Darnell Mooney should be, and get 3 future first-round picks on top of it, we're doing the deal. Now, I'm going to go through this rant that it seems like I do every single day at this point. And this isn't for the person who's trading away their 2025 first, the person trading for their 2025 first. It's for every commissioner watching this video. There is no reason why teams should be able to trade their 2025 first right now. That is how you ruin a dynasty league. If a team goes out, trades their 2023, 2024, 2025 first, and then has a team go down to injury, has a Dalvin Cook tear his Achilles, has Cam Akers never make it back to form. Just, there's so much variance in fantasy football. If that team all of a sudden becomes bad and you don't have a first round pick for 3 years, you have no chance at all to turn it around. That is how you get an owner to leave the league. That is how you have a team that's abandoned that nobody will be willing to overtake. We do not want to be trading away 2025 first. Please. We can look at it from this perspective as well. Think about how long it has been since the Super Bowl. How long it has been. We still have 3 months before the season starts. That's one offseason. So we have to finish this offseason. Then you have to play the entire 2022 season. You have to go through the entire 2023 offseason. You have to go through the entire 2023 season. Go through the entire 2024 offseason. Go through the entire 2024 season. And then you can make your rookie pick. No, absurd. That should not be something that should not be the case. Now let's go over to our next deal. Let's look at trading away Ja'Marr Chase for Cooper Kupp and 2 future first. Hell yes. The reason we're making this deal, right, is if we go through and if we look at how these wide receivers project out this upcoming season. I mean, Cooper Kupp should be the wide receiver 1 overall. I mean, if you're going and you're looking at underdog fantasy drafts, there have been $1 million minimum worth of drafts there this offseason, probably pushing $2 million at this point. Everybody is in consensus. Cooper Kupp is the wide receiver 1. If you are getting that production locked in, you're getting an upgrade for this season, possibly next year as well, and you're getting those first round picks, that's a no-brainer, because what we can do with those first-round picks is if we get to the middle of the season and all of a sudden we need a running back. Say we have J.K. Dobbins, he goes down for the year, and then we're looking at our league mate who has Derrick Henry, and this team is all of a sudden a rebuilding roster. You could go and trade that 2023 first for Derrick Henry like that, and you would just have that extra piece, that extra ammo to go and win your league this year, or you could just sit back. Maybe that pick becomes the 102, 103, and you get an elite level player, and it completely changes the course of your... I think we're going to go Cooper Kupp in the future first. But real quick, if you want to go draft Cooper Kupp in real money fantasy football drafts in 2022, make sure you go check out Underdog Fantasy with the link in the description, the link in the comment section, wherever you want to find it. Over there, you can find us drafting every single day. I know y'all have seen us doing it on the live streams. Real money fantasy football drafts. And when you use promo code FLOCK when you sign up, they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. And on top of that, you're going to get my 2022 Dynasty rankings, our Dynasty Rookie rankings, our Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide, our 2022 rankings. Support this channel. Have some fun getting the drafts with us. But let's move over to our next deal. This one is going to be trading away Najee Harris, Michael Pittman, Dallas Goedert, and Juju Smith-Schuster for a pretty large package. Robert Woods, CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams, and Noah Fant. So let's break this down piece by piece. Okay. I personally prefer Najee Harris over Javonte Williams. Now that Melvin Gordon re-signed, it's not close, okay? We're going to go with Najee Harris based on the workload he had his rookie season and how stable that job is going forward with him being a first-round pick, with him having that fifth-year option. Then if we look at the Michael Pittman addition on this, like speaking of Underdog fans, they're drafting him in the middle of the third round right now in redraft leagues, and he's going into year 3 of his NFL career. It's absurd. I don't agree with it, but hell, I've been wrong before. I told people not to draft Chris Godwin in 2019. The man came out and was the wide receiver 2 in fantasy. Okay, so if we look at the upcoming expectations for Michael Pittman, combine that with his age, combine that with his career, hell, if he is a low-end wide receiver 1, as a lot of people think he is going to be this upcoming season, is a pretty large piece of this deal. I think you have to take Juju Smith-Schuster over Robert Woods. Juju is going higher than Robert Woods right now in redraft leagues. He's younger than Robert Woods as well. I think we have to take Dallas Goedert over Noah Fant. So really, you're getting 3 upgrades with this deal, with Robert Woods to Juju, with Noah Fant to Dallas Goedert, with Javonte Williams to Najee Harris, and you're getting that 1 downgrade from CeeDee Lamb to Michael Pittman. It's a fair deal because I will say I think the downgrade from Lamb to Pittman is a larger swing in value than any of the other individual assets. But I think we're probably going to go with Juju. Maybe I'm just biased. Y'all know how much I've loved our guy Juju in the past. It's so hard for me to ever look at a Juju Smith-Schuster trade and be fair when we evaluate it. But let's go over to our next deal. This is going to be a Gabriel Davis trade. Speaking of Underdog Fantasy, oh my God, over there, he's being drafted in the late 4th, early 5th round for 2022 drafts. But for Dynasty, I think Gabriel Davis is completely obtainable. I mean, the Dynasty community hasn't overall reacted, and I don't love Gabriel Davis. If I'm looking at his redraft ADP, I'm saying, okay, this is one of the most overvalued wide receivers in fantasy. While yes, you have so many targets opening up in Buffalo this upcoming season, at the end of the day, hell, if you were that good of a wide receiver, if Gabriel Davis is some elite talent, if he's the next best thing, wouldn't you think he could have just outproduced Emmanuel Sanders at 34 years old this past season? Shouldn't he have been able to get on the field immediately? Shouldn't he have been able to create a role over Cole Beasley, who was 33 years old this past year? So I want to say, I want to be on the record. No, I'm never going to be drafting Gabriel Davis with where he's going in 2022 fantasy football drafts. But for Dynasty, if we just say, okay, well, that ADP is probably somewhat efficient. If Gabriel Davis has the chance to post a top 24 finish this upcoming season, where is he ranked in Dynasty next season? All of a sudden, Gabriel Davis is a wide receiver that the entire Dynasty community is going to be on, because you look at Gabriel Davis, and this was someone drafted in I think this is his 3rd season, drafted in 2020. This is a wide receiver that will be attached to Josh Allen for the long term. You don't have Jamison Crowder there next year, most likely. So if we were getting a pick added on from George Pickens, I personally have Gabriel Davis ranked ahead of George Pickens in our Dynasty rankings. I think Gabriel Davis outscores the man this upcoming season. I think Gabriel Davis has more Dynasty value next offseason as well. So while I think Gabriel Davis is one of the most overvalued players in redraft, in Dynasty, if this is his price point, I think you have to be a buyer. Now, let's go to our next deal. Very, very simple trade, okay? Move back from the 106 to the 107, and you pick up Kadarius freaking Toney. Like, what are we talking about here? Kadarius Toney. Let me pull up our draft guide so I can go through some Toney statistics, because there's one that stands out, and I know y'all are tired of hearing me talk about it, but it's freaking crazy. So Kadarius Toney posted 2.2 yards per route run his rookie season. So instead of looking at all rookies that have been able to post the 2.2 yards per route run, look at guys like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, yada, yada, yada. Let's just look at them compared to all players in the NFL this past season. The only wide receivers to post 2.2 yards per route run or better this past season, Kadarius Toney, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Tyler Lockett, Jamar Chase, Deontay Harris, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Antonio Brown, Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, and Cooper Kupp. Now, of course, if you look at the per game numbers for Kadarius Toney, they're thrown off because this is a wide receiver that had to play some time with a combination of freaking Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm. This is a wide receiver that, more importantly, was leaving games early with injury. So that's why his per game numbers are thrown out. But if we look at his per route numbers, which isn't going to take into account, he only played, 30% of a single game? No, it's just looking at what he did when he was on the football field. The man was electric. The man was dynamic. He shouldn't be treated as a throw-in. He's a real piece in dynasty leagues. Obviously, nobody's arguing that the 106 is the side that wins here, but I do want y'all to put some respect on Kadarius Toney's name. Now let's go over to our next trade. This one, you're seeing the 104, a future first and a future third versus Brandon Ayuk, Antonio Gibson, and a future third as well. So funny that people include these third-round picks. Let's just take them out. Would you rather have the 104 in a future first or Brandon Ayuk and Antonio Gibson? And it is easily the picks for me. If we're looking at that 104, you are getting either your choice. You're not going to get Drake London. You're not going to get Breece Hall. But you could potentially get Treylon Burks, Kenneth Walker, or Garrett Wilson. That's who's going to be in play for you. I think you're fine taking whichever one you want. And you get the 2023 first. I know it's the new cool thing to hate on Antonio Gibson, but there's a reason behind it. The coaching staff went and just took a running back inside the top 100 picks. They went and re-signed J.D. McKissick. He's getting squeezed by both ends on his workload this upcoming season. It's very hard to imagine Antonio Gibson actually turning into that bell cow level player. And if you're getting that 2023 first, as we've already discussed, not only could you just stick with the pick and have a great prospect coming into your team next offseason, but even if you wanted to just stick it on your roster, you will have an asset that only increases in value by the time you get to your rookie draft. And most importantly, you will have the flexibility to move that pick for whatever you want pretty much during the season. If you needed a running back at the time, then you go and trade that 2023 first. If you need a wide receiver in week 6 and you're like, okay, if I add a wide receiver, if I add Chris Godwin to this team wins this championship, then yes, we're going to go through and we're going to move that first. But you have the optionality, you have the ammo to go through and fire that. So I'm going to prefer someone like Treylon Burks over Ayuk quite easily. I'm going to prefer the 2023 first over Antonio Gibson quite easily as well. But let's go to our next trade. This one's going to be a couple of Los Angeles Chargers wide receivers. You have Mike Williams, and you're receiving Robert Woods, Joshua Palmer, and a future second. Now, this is why I truly do think it's advantageous for you to just hop in some best ball drafts at this time of the year. So you have an idea of how people are projecting players for this upcoming season. And we are looking right now at Underdog ADP. Mike Williams is currently going as the wide receiver 13. Wide receiver 13 for this upcoming season. If we cross-reference this and look at where Robert Woods is going and the expectations for Robert Woods. Now, keep in mind, of course, Robert Woods going to miss some time at the beginning of the year. That is going to play an impact on his ADP. Robert Woods going as the wide receiver 51. Mike Williams just signed that second contract. Mike Williams drafted in 2017. Robert Woods pushing 30 years old. Joshua Palmer really isn't going to be anything in the long term. So you are having a step down with your production this season, a step down with your production next season, a step down with your production the season after that. There's a chance that Mike Williams takes over from Keenan Allen as the wide receiver 1 this season. Now, I think it's unlikely. I think it's absolutely crazy that if we go through right now and we look at Mike Williams compared to Keenan Allen, Mike Williams on Underdog being drafted at 28, Keenan Allen being drafted at 27. I'm like, okay, give me the consistency we've had with Keenan Allen being a wide receiver 1 over the past 3 seasons. I'll take that. But still, for us to be sending off Mike Williams for essentially Robert Woods in a future second, I don't think that's the deal for us. Now, I really hope that this video was able to help you out. I really hope you were able to get something from it. Please go down there, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment with whatever your trade is. I'll try to answer as many of those comments and get to as many of those questions as possible. But thank you again. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great day. Hope we get to see you with the video tomorrow.